Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing fantastic. Welcome to this video, which is part 4 of how to start a recruitment agency. And this one is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be one that's probably one of my more important videos to actually watch in this series. And it's called the Goldilocks client. Before you think, oh my God, Kads has gone mad, he's naming his slideshows off fictional characters, not the case. The Goldilocks clients are probably one of the most important clients. They can make or break your business. They can take your revenue up, into the millions, if anything. I'm going to show you why they're important, why you should always look for them, why you want them, what type of revenue they can bring, and also the pros and negatives of having one. So, a Goldilocks client is named after a planetary system or planet that can harvest life. So the temperature's just right, there's water, the conditions are perfect. They're called Goldilocks zone planets, and this is called Goldilocks clients because everything is just right with that. So it's going to be a quick one. What the hell is a Goldilocks client? Basically, think of it as an ideal client. A lot of people used to call it, I think they still do, key accounts. They are slightly different from key accounts. Key accounts just bring you revenue, but a Goldilocks client is slightly different. Yeah, so I'll go through and I'll explain why I've put all these down. There's a lot more to it, but I've only put these down. So a Goldilocks client, if you have one, most of your monthly revenue or guaranteed revenue is going to come from them. Example, you might have one Goldilocks client. It doesn't have to bring you, £50,000 a month. It can bring you a consistent revenue. So you can quantify, okay, if I've got this client, probably they're going to make me 50 grand a year, 20 grand a year consistently, whatever the case, yeah? Usually, and most importantly, they have great communication from the start. Are they going to be a Goldilocks client if they're not getting back to your emails and they're not signing your terms of business? Probably not. And it just goes to show they usually pay on time, if not before the 15-day or 30-day time period. I've had clients that just pay immediately, as soon as the person's hired or starts, or even before they start. Yeah. Typically, you want them not so much like going back to the Goldilocks zone, not so much. The positions are not hard to fill, but not too easy. So you want it kind of in the middle. If it's too easy, sooner or later they're going to be like, hold on a minute, why don't we just hire an internal recruiter and they can do it. You want it so the internal team can't find it, but agency recruiters can because we've got a bit more skill and we're a bit way better than them actually. The rates are usually good, so you can't be on a 10% with these guys. Typically, Goldilocks clients are quite cash heavy, cash rich. They got deep pockets, so usually they don't care about the rates. They want the good staff, and they're willing to pay for it. Yeah, they always have job orders, and they keep you up to date with their job orders. Is another thing. So you might get. I've got clients that send me just a weekly email on a Friday or a Monday and just say, these are our jobs. If you have any CVs, God bless you and send them across. That's perfect. Yeah. They also value the service. I'll tell you why that's important because I've had clients and I'm just constantly thinking of one particular client in my head. He always says to me, I couldn't have built the team without you. You're what's built the company. You got all these staff in. Like he shows appreciation to it. And it wasn't that I went above and beyond in the first month because I loved them. I didn't know if they were going to be a good client. I just started outperforming everyone. Yeah. Also, they're not working with too many agencies. That's important. You can still have a Goldilocks client, but they can have lots of agencies. But the less, the better. Ideally, work towards exclusivity so you get all the jobs. And if they don't have an internal team, that's really Goldilocks zone because you have no competition. You're guaranteeing a placement. It's equivalent to a retainer basically that you just get paid later. Um, and importantly, what agencies forget is we actually want someone that's, we're proud to put our people to work at, and they'll give you referrals. They'll be like, oh, they found me a position at this company, and please don't be mistaken by companies that pay the most or pay the most fees are Goldilocks clients. It's not the case. They have to treat workers good. They have to treat agencies good, and it's all round good culture. Ideally, what you don't want is just a high rate because that typically means they just got cash rich and they treat employees bad, which you don't want. Good retention. We don't want to be getting a refund. We don't want to be sending any money back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What a Goldilocks client is. Sounds too good to be true, you're probably saying. Um, so how on earth do you get one? I want one, everyone wants one, that's probably what everyone's saying. It's exactly the same way. Now, the only difference is, what I teach in a business development is, send voice notes on LinkedIn, send 100 emails, make 60 cold calls a day. You will get clients, no problem, in any sector. Forget the niche. That's all it takes. It's so easy nowadays. It's unbelievable. Someone tells me they're going to start an agency and then they ring me in the afternoon and say I've got 3 clients. It's way better than even I used to do months ago. Simply because the market's so in demand for recruitment agencies. I can't stress it enough. And if you play back, you go back 6 months on my videos, pretty much every video I was saying to everyone, please start an agency. This is the best time. The second best time to start an agency is now, actually, as well. So, in order to get a Goldilocks client, you can't let them down. So you have to have a niche. They're more likely to go for you if you have a niche. This is why I talk about the importance of niches. Um, Candidate pool also needs to be there. You can't start going to Goldilocks clients and they give you 20 jobs and you don't have any candidates or any knowledge of the market or where to find them. Potentially, you need to be active in the market. You're probably not going to get past the initial call because the call won't be like, yeah, we need these people. Bye. They want to know about your company. They want to spend like an hour on the phone with you. I could go into real detail on the initial, sales funnel of a Goldilocks client because they're always the same. They're slightly different as well. They're the type of client that would want to book a Zoom meeting with you, for example. They'd want to get to know your business, learn about you, and there's a bit of humour involved potentially. Um, they're always the ones that end up smiling and laughing on the phone as well, believe it or not. So I'm not saying you can't make money from anyone else. Sometimes you can make more, but activity in the market will lead you to the Goldilocks clients, and they're so important. Honestly, if you got one of these, you can't fail. Put it that way. Like a lemon could pass it. Yeah, a donkey would fill these positions, like working with companies like this. Yeah, so usually, if I have 100 clients, one, two, or three of them are Goldilocks clients, and I've put in red just so you're aware. My all of my Goldilocks clients over the years have said they would never ever work with me. They were some of the harshest ones, actually. They were the ones that were like, look, they're not even responding to me, or they're saying, "Cads, we got all your email, we got all your call. You don't have to call us. We will never." I remember one saying, "We will never ever work with you," and then their job ads which says we never use agencies, and I was very happy I got on board with them. And lo and behold, they were losing a hell of a lot of agencies. So it's never give up. Don't think, oh, I can't work with Sky. I know someone that started his agency and his first client was Sky. Yeah, so it's not the case of these big names you can't get in with because you're a new agency. Unlikely, but possible. So the question is, does everyone get one? Does every agency out there have one? The simple answer is probably not. I've worked at agencies where none of us have had Goldilocks clients. I've owned agencies for months I didn't have a Goldilocks client. I've worked at agencies where they've had three and I've had them all. Yeah, so most agencies typically, unless we're excluding, the really big, 200 plus recruiter sized agencies, typically they have 0 to 5. Most have one, if I'm honest. Yeah, if you can get one, happy days. Especially if you're working by yourself, happy days. And they're typically a longer sales funnel, so unlikely they're going to come up in the first, second, third month. These are the ones that aren't really even advertising on Indeed, so you really got to dig deep and travel about, um, read CVs, have activity in the market, and that's the best way to sort of have it. You'll learn. Oh, a candidate says to you, "Oh, I just went for an interview here," and you say, "Who's that?" And you look them up, and you see they've got 50 jobs on. You've never seen them before, even though you've been in an agency for over a year. That's when you really think, oh, okay, they're possibly a Goldilocks client. Yeah. You have to always establish yourself in the market as well, and that just goes without saying with pretty much anything. If you're selling, I don't know, drinks, probably going to sell it to the local supermarket rather than Tesco straight away. But when you land a Tesco's contract, it's going to be lucrative. You probably got a better chance if you have a brand or a niche. And pretty much the good news is they're actually getting easier to find, and they're getting easier to work with because out of desperation, companies are reaching out to more agencies. I've probably received more calls inbound in the last 2 months than from clients asking to work with me, or do I have this particular candidate on the books, than I have in the last, 3, 4 years, maybe, actually. I mean, I've had a couple over the years, but I've had people reach out on LinkedIn a lot as well. So it is really a time where they treated agencies bad for a while, and now they're saying, hold on a minute, we actually need agencies, and we need them even more now, and we're probably going to keep them when we carry on. So there's an abundance of people out there looking for uh, agencies to work with. Yeah. So what can they do for your agency? If you land one, you ain't going to know from the offset. You have to work with them for a while to work out if they are. Typical revenue, from my experience, is about £10,000. That's a very conservative approach, but the thing is, they'll probably bring you, £10,000 per month on average. So they're 100k. I would say I wanted to put 250k, but there are some small Goldilocks clients. But they're probably 250k revenue type of clients. They also make your business more valuable. If you were to get brought out by a competitor, or you were willing to sell your business, or you wanted to get investment from a bank, or branch out into a different sector or merge with another company, you've got some clout in the marketplace. If you come and say, oh, I'm working with Tesco's now, yeah, and you're speaking to Asda, they can say, oh, potentially they know what they're doing. They're already working with our competitors. They're already finding them people. As an example, that could work, yeah. It also helps to, when you hire internal staff, you can actually say, this account brings £10,000 a month. I'm giving it to you, and this is a recruiter working for your business. You can say, I expect you to bring £10,000 a month from that, and grow the desk as well. So you start them off. You never want to give a recruiter a cold desk. You're useless if you do that, actually, as a business owner, and I've seen that many times, and it never ends well, because no one ever trains staff. So it helps you also find other clients, because you get knowledge. You've probably acquired one of the harder clients to get, and also you can name drop them. You can name drop them to candidates and clients as well. And overall, when you begin operating and recruiting for them, you learn more about the market, the sector, you talk to more people. So naturally, you become a better recruiter and more experienced, even if you feel you're very experienced now. The negatives, we have to talk about the negatives simply because there are negatives involved. Um, Trouble is, I've seen over the years, and I've been guilty of this myself, you rely on one or very few clients, and the cows will come home, or is it the roosters will come home to roost or whatnot. And there is a time where they say, actually, we don't need much help at the moment, and then you're sitting there like, oh, I've got to do business development that I haven't done for a year now, and I was sitting pretty at this amount, etc. They will eventually work out, some of them, that we're spending, £100,000 a year. And I've worked at a company where the finance director called a meeting and said, we're spending 600,000. This was an agency as well. We're spending 600,000 a year on agency fees. He goes, I'm going to hire 3 internal recruiters, HR, and I'm going to stick them in there, and it's going to cost me 100 grand. And he goes, we just saved 500,000 and we're getting the same results. So they weren't getting the same results, but they felt like they were. That was a hit they were willing to take, quality of staff. And there will be a time where your Goldilocks client might actually take that shift, especially in the economic, downturn. There will be something like that. The other downside is they do have good internal teams, or they have some sort of HR function. They've got a brand. They get a lot of people reaching out to them as well, and because they've got their long tentacles everywhere. When you speak to candidates, sometimes they're like, "Oh, I've already gone for an interview. I've already applied there. It's a little harder to find candidates because as soon as you say the name, they usually know them, and it's not necessarily a big client. My most profitable clients you've never even heard of, put it that way, guaranteed. And it does stop your business from growing because your time and resources will be allocated in serving the accounts. So potentially, um, you can potentially stop growing the business as fast because you won't be doing as much business development. However, your revenue will be growing. In fact, there are no negatives. In all honesty, um, I've learnt this lesson a long time ago. They would have cost saved already, and I will always find a candidate, and I'll never stop growing because I never stop business development. So there are no negatives. If you get a Goldilocks client, do let me know. Any questions on this video? I just had to make it, and I hope I explained it well. I cannot explain the power of what a Goldilocks client will do to your business. I've been Cads Money. Go to cadsmoney.com if you wish to speak with me. Love you all and take care.